Well, this is the last session together where we're thinking about this question: what comes to your mind when you think about God? And what if I told you that God is jealous? Now, when you hear the word jealous, maybe you think of someone who is selfish, who's vain, who's possessive. And we use that word in that way. That's kind of what we often mean by the person who is jealous. But what if jealousy was used in a different context? Like in a marriage, for example. The same word jealousy that we think of as a negative trait is actually an attribute of devotion, sincerity, and love when we think of it in terms of a husband who is jealous for his wife. And that's the way that the word jealousy is used to describe God at Mount Sinai in Deuteronomy chapter 6. At Mount Sinai, Israel was like a bride to God, entering into this covenant relationship after he rescued them from Egypt. And as part of the vows in this covenant, it says in Deuteronomy 6 and verse 4, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one, and you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might." And then he says in verse 14, "You shall not go after other gods, the gods of the peoples who are around you. For the Lord your God is in your midst, and he is Kana, or a jealous God." So rather than being like a spouse who is apathetic or careless or uh, unattuned to his bride, God is a God who is passionately jealous for his people. He wants and desires a relationship. And he wants, in this context, their singular devotion, not just because of the covenant that they made, but because he knows that no other gods could love and care and provide for them like he could. But over and over again, these same people, Israel, they forgot about God and chased after idols. And every person throughout all time has done the same. We try to find what we're looking for in things that are as dead and lifeless as these wooden images. We try to find security and identity and hope in things that are destined to let us down. The Apostle Paul speaks to it in this way in Acts chapter 17 and verse 16, when it says that while he was in the city of Athens, Paul was greatly distressed to see that this city was full of idols. See, Paul was distressed. He was grieved in his spirit because he saw all these people chasing after things that could never love them back, that could never bring them the true joy or security or meaning or purpose that we're all seeking in life. Their hearts were chasing after things that were only robbing them from the source of all that is good, the God who is jealous for his people. But God didn't give up. Like Hosea continuing to pursue his wife after she left him time and time again, God kept pursuing, determined to prove his love for us and draw our hearts back to him. That's why Jesus said in John 12 and verse 32 that when I am lifted up from the earth, I will draw all people to myself. See, the drawing power of God is ultimately the lifting up of Jesus, his own son. And what that says is that God's jealousy is not vain or conceited or self-serving. It's loving and sacrificial. It's the relentless pursuit of our hearts, even when we've chased after the idols of this world. And he proved his jealous love for us by laying his life down on the cross. And that's why today we're compelled to love him with all our heart, with all our soul, and with all our might. And so this day, leave behind your idols, whatever it is, all the things that distract you from loving God, and devote yourself now to the one who wants you the most. Because the Lord our God is Kana, the God who is jealous for us. And I hope that that's what comes to your mind when you think about who our God is.